Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. That is Warren Buffett, arguably the greatest investor who ever lived. Since 1965, his company has returned about 20% a year. Compounded, that is more than 4 million percent, while the market did a small fraction of it. He is worth over $100 billion. But here's what almost everyone gets wrong about him. His edge was never a secret stock or a higher IQ. It was how he thinks about money, his psychology. And he has told us exactly how, in his own words, for 60 years. Smart, high-earning people break these rules every single day. He simply refused to. So let's decode the mind that quietly stays rich. If figuring out how the rich actually think sounds useful, subscribe. That is the whole channel. Years ago, Jeff Bezos asked Buffett one simple question. Your idea is so simple. Why doesn't everyone just copy you? Because nobody wants to get rich slow. Slow. The least exciting word in finance, and quietly the richest. That one line explains almost everything. Everyone wants the result. Almost no one wants the slow path to it. So they chase fast money and stay broke faster. Buffett built his whole life around being patient on purpose. Now, the 5 rules that patience is built on. Rule 1. He says it more bluntly than anyone. Rule number 1. Never lose money. Rule number 2. Never forget rule number 1. Most people ask how much they could win. Buffett asks first how much he could lose, because a loss hurts far more than the same size gain helps. Lose half your money, and you must double what's left just to get back to even. One big loss can erase 10 years of careful gains. So he only acts when he can barely lose, and the upside is real. Risk comes from not knowing what you are doing. Smart people skip this. They feel too clever to lose, and confidence, not stupidity, is what bankrupts the smart. It takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. Protect the downside first. The upside takes care of itself. Rule 2 is why he opened with fear and greed. The most important quality for an investor is temperament, not intellect. When everyone is greedy and buying, he turns cautious. When everyone is panicking and selling, he calmly buys. Price is what you pay. Value is what you get. In 2008, as the world was crashing, he did something stunning. He published an article titled simply, "Buy American, I Am." While everyone fled in terror, he stepped in and bought. Those calm purchases, in the worst panic, made billions. Most people did the exact reverse. Buy at the top from greed, sell at the bottom from fear. Their own emotions quietly hand their money to the calm. The stock market transfers money from the impatient to the patient. His edge was never a bigger brain, it was a steadier mind. The calmest person in the room usually keeps the money. Rule 3 is the engine under all of it: time. Buffett bought his first stock at 11 years old, and he says he started too late. Now feel this. More than 90% of his fortune came after he turned 50. For decades, he was rich, but quietly. Then it exploded upward. That is compounding. Money earning money, then that earning more. Slow and boring for years, then it bends up like magic. Most people quit in the boring years and never see the magic. To force discipline, he teaches a strange mental trick. Imagine a punch card with only 20 slots for your entire life. 1 punch per big decision, 20 total forever. Suddenly you stop gambling and only act when you are sure. Our favorite holding period is forever. He bought Coca-Cola and See's candies decades ago and simply never sold. Someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. Patience is not passive. It is the hardest discipline there is. Time is the one advantage you can start using today for free. Rule 4. Knowing the exact limits of what you know. Buffett only invests inside his circle of competence, things he truly understands. Everything else, he lets pass. He has skipped whole booms that made other people rich for a while. Not because he couldn't enter, because he wouldn't pretend to understand. And when he's straight outside it, he paid for it. He calls buying Dexter's shoe one of the worst deals he ever made. The greatest investor alive, openly admitting he bought the wrong shoe company. Refreshing, honestly. He misjudged the airlines too and said so out loud. That humility is the rule. Never mistake ego for understanding. To widen his circle, he does one unglamorous thing constantly. He reads. around 500 pages nearly every day. You only have to do a very few things right, as long as you don't do too many things wrong. Confidence outside your circle is how the smart lose the most. Stay inside what you understand, and your knowledge protects your money. Rule 5 is not in his portfolio. It is in his driveway. A 100 billionaire still lives in the house he bought in 1958. He paid $31,500 for it. He never moved. $100 billion. And the man still keeps his life this small on purpose. Stay with me. He is not cheap. He is deliberate. Every dollar not spent on status, he kept working for him. If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. Most people get a raise, then instantly raise their spending to match. New salary, new car, new lifestyle. The gap never grows. They run faster and faster and stay in the exact same place. Buffett let his income climb and kept his lifestyle flat. That growing gap year after year quietly became a fortune. A flashy car buys a week of other people's attention. The same money invested buys years of your own freedom. Looking rich and being rich are opposites. He chose to be rich. Quick one before we go on. Comment which of these 5 rules you break the most. Be honest, I read them. If you still think this is just luck, he proved it with a bet. In 2008, he bet $1 million against the experts. His claim? A simple, boring index fund would beat elite hedge funds over 10 years. The smartest, highest-paid money managers on earth took the other side. 10 years later, the boring index fund crushed them. The sharpest minds on Wall Street, beaten by a fund that basically does nothing. Simplicity and patience beat brilliance and fees. He gave the winnings to charity. The point was never the money. It was proof. Behavior beats genius every time. And here's the final twist that confuses everyone. A man who could buy almost anything chooses to buy almost nothing. He has pledged to give away more than 99% of his wealth. No mansion to prove it, no crowd to impress. Because he already owns the only thing wealth is really for. Freedom, time, a mind that money cannot rattle. That is quiet wealth, and it never needs to be seen. So look at the whole man one more time. None of his 5 rules needs genius. Never lose money. Master your temperament. Be patient. Stay in your circle. Live below your means. Simple, which is exactly why smart people skip them. They reached for clever. He just refused to be foolish. And here's the mirror he leaves you with. Chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken. Your wealth was never your salary. It is your behavior. So ask yourself, honestly, which of his 5 rules are you breaking right now? Pick that one habit. Change it this week. Do that, and you have already started getting quietly rich. If this shifted how you see money, hit like and subscribe. It genuinely helps the channel grow. See you in the next one.